Bum ba bum. Ho! What's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, Atraxi, a demon queen, and today we're talking about the final round of Clashfronts for this set of games. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. Now, if you were in Exalted, you probably got what a lot of Exalted guilds got, and that is a pure rematch of a game 3, right? So you were kind of like stuck with the same guilds, so we got stuck again with this King's Raid guild, Light, Arc, and ourselves. Now, in our previous game, we were over here and Arc was here. That was the only change. So there was no real I don't say there's such a big change here. It just kind of favored us in general, and with that we've got a better positioning overall because now we were up against the weakest guild on our side, so things worked out a little bit better, I would say, for us in the end. Now, we did have an alliance with Arc throughout the last game because we had thought and heard a rumor that these two guilds were working together, which kind of made sense because when we scouted out their power, they looked a little bit on the weaker side, and necessarily that this guild should not have been in this round of 4, and we'll take a look at things later. And just, yeah, because again, if you go into, like I said, the easiest way to check a guild's power is you just go to a guild supremacy, right? And you can kind of get an idea here of the top 4 guilds in your district are like, and some of the weaker guilds, right, when you start to get down below, depending on your district. But like, again, you can always go in, you can see how many people they have on their roster. You can see what their base power is like, and then you can kind of scroll down, right? You just kind of like scout out their base power, and then you can see like how many inactives they're gonna have, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they may just be having those inactives to bump up their numbers a little bit, so they obviously don't have a full roster. And if you don't have a full roster at the start, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble because you can't deploy there. So the only time you can really recruit new people into your guild during this event and have them participate is during that initial like complete / deploy phase, right? All right, so we scouted them out, so we kind of had an idea. So let's kind of go match by match and talk about why this was a little bit more advantageous, right? So as expected, the first round went as a normal, right? We had the agreed upon, we're going to get the middle. We're going to take the middle anyway. I mean, it's more of like when you're the strong guild. I think it was more of less of an alliance and more of a non-aggression pact, right? Like, you go after this, we'll get this, and then we go this way, you guys go that way, that sort of thing, right? So in this, they go left, we go right, but we do give up this square. So yeah, so we had a good first round. I mean, we probably could deploy a little bit more here, this time. Usually I get an 85-15 split. This time I went for an 83-17-ish split, just because I knew we had the power to take this, and I wanted to pick up as many points as possible from the combat trial in the other area, right? So we got that. We got max points that way. So again, we're off to a good start. My guess is that these two guilds alliance fell apart because of how strong our guild is and how strong Arc is, right? Because we're two of the stronger guilds in the district. So my guess is they realized, like, hey, there's no way an alliance between us is going to work because there's no way we can snag 1, 2, or 2, 3, right? So it's just not gonna happen. Anyway, let's go to round 2. Alright, so as you can see, we were initially supposed to give up this tile, but as always, not everybody can redeploy, which is kind of one of the issues I would say with the event. So we end up keeping the tile an extra round, which is fine. It gives us some extra points at the end, but it kind of hurts our ally a little bit. So they were kind of in third place, but we know it's more of a long-term type thing, right, rather than a short-term type goal, is to get us the win and our ally second, right? Because what you can always do if your ally falls behind, you can always gift them a tile, right, to kind of get them caught back up and get them the win. So as you can see, the treasure hamster spawned here, and up top we managed to get this, right? So now we're only looking at, currently we have to defend this tile, defend with this tile, and then we want to grab this tile in the next round, while our ally only really needs to defend they need to kind of do the same. So they need to defend this, and try to grab this, right? Because then what you can do is essentially you can box out the other guilds. So let's take a look and see how that went. And again, we're getting this tile and giving up this tile, right? So we trade the 100 to get secure to 50. Okay, so right, so this is what I would call the ideal result, right? So we managed to hold out this tile here, right? So they threw only like 7 squads, we threw 15. We didn't even really lose anything at all. So one of my Vanguard squad over here, my second strongest squad, just wiped out everybody on there. That's the advantage of having a Kraken on your team, and why I said something like these guilds, they didn't really have they really just kind of like snuck in via alliance when another guild should have been in here that was a little bit stronger, right? So then that allows us so I wiped them out, so then our guys go into the combat trials to pick up extra points. We hold this, obviously I figured we could grab this, hold this, and grab this, and have a couple squads left over. So we threw in a couple extra squads here at the combat trials just to pick up some extra points, right? So if you can, and you can kind of guesstimate what you need to grab your tiles, you can always have extra squads thrown in to your free tiles to pick up a couple extra points in those combat trials, right? To kind of like give you a nice lead. So as you can see, our ally jumped in to second because we denied this team and this team any real points, right? So they didn't get anything. We picked it up, right? We had a very, very close match here. I would say we won by 3 teams. I had someone deploy at the last second and throw 3 teams at there, which is kind of fun. But again, if I just look at what we had left over, I don't really think it would have mattered too much. One, because my last squad here, and this is we'll just go down, right? So it got up to 9 wins, and look, it was still going strong. I mean, it still had a 38. This team could have easily wiped out another, I think, 2 to 3 more squads. This is my Greyborn comp that I posted elsewhere. It uses Kaelin, Nara, Ludovic, Harak, and Siren. It's a very, very effective comp. It's worked wonders against all of the other recommended Yaphala comps because it's very, very strong against Wilder. A lot of people are going to be running Wilder comps. Again, you have 1, 2, 3 immune heroes at the start of battle. You have Surging to kind of counteract some of the Taline, Tassi type teams. And then you have Nara to gank over, and then Kaelin just does a good job. So it's got that burst heal, so we're not really losing any heroes during these fights, right? So you can take a look at like the last fight here. But again, we're going up against a weaker opponent. So you see they got shredded. We did lose 2. And that does hurt us for stam, but we're still racking up those wins thanks to our Paragon advantage and our comp and talent, right? 31 talent. All right, so we did that. We then all my squads then get thrown into combat trials, so we pick up extra points there. But so that's why just estimating came up big here. So we were able to snag some extra points. Now our ally. All right. So now if we go to round 4, we're gonna get the treasure hamster. So again, now we're at a point where we only need to defend 2 tiles, and they only need to defend 1. I don't think they necessarily. Yeah, our ally ended up giving up this tile, but we redeployed. We got enough squads here and enough squads here to kind of like cement it, right? So we could box out this guild, essentially knocking them down to 4th place and preventing them from getting any points, right? So, all right. So this is what happens, right? So they go, they didn't really go after this tile. They went big against this tile, but with 57 squads, we were able to easily overcome their entire guild and have this time 6 squads left over. I was thinking about doing 60. I reduced it to 57 just to move some squads around because I figured maybe we could actually do it with like 55, which might have been better because then we would add more squads for other areas, but I didn't want to take the risk that we got overwhelmed and lost the tile, and maybe the other guild made a play for it, but they didn't, right? So our ally, as you can see, we boxed them out. So essentially what it becomes is we just need our ally to hold this tile, and then we just need to hold this tile and this tile, right? And then that pretty much just locks it down. We've already clinched at this point. There's no way we're not getting in first. Again, we've got this tile on lock. I don't think anybody can take it from us. We've got this tile as a free tile. So unless our ally backstabbed us, which didn't really make any sense, because essentially they just needed... That way, they wouldn't need to worry about us coming after them, and they don't have to worry about, you know, it's better to foster a friendship with another guild, especially when you've been in 4 matches with them, right? Because you kind of know what each other is going to do anyway. So fostering a friendship actually benefited us greatly here. Alright, so that's why it's always better to make friends than it is to make enemies. Alright. So at this point, as you can see, we've already clinched it. We've unlocked everything up. That's my ultimate goal. Round 4, put this thing on a lock. Get that clinch, get that win, call it a day, because then we can get like an extra couple days off, and then we have a couple weeks off, right? So then we go to round 5. So as you can see, they just picked up some points in the skirmish. Really, it was just their skirmish squads, but they got squished, and we just dominated. And then our allies lost another tile, but that just means that this guild then fends off. As you can see, we'll take a look at the results, right? So we pretty much just stay. Again, we have had the highest score throughout the event, or at least the last 2 rounds in the Exalted League. Our ally gets a decent score. They get to stay in this guild. Somehow manages to stay in, but this guild does end up getting demoted. Now, you only get... So it's worth noting that even if you demote someone out of Legend, out of Exalted, the only thing they're not getting is the trophy, right? Because if we look at the rewards, you're not really, like, costing the guild power, right? Essentially, they're getting the same rewards, right? So I think there's just, yeah, you're just getting a little bit more diamonds, 100 more diamonds here than in the other one. It's not that big of a deal. Essentially, you're still getting all of these rewards right here. The only thing difference is they get a silver statue instead of the gold statue. But our goal, obviously, was to get number 1 and get the gold stature. We got that, you know, everybody gets this title. Whoa. The Stellars, this is nice. These rads, this is nice because we're getting a Thalia soon, we're getting a Pheramore soon, we're getting a Shamira soon, and we're getting the 2 collab heroes. So, whereas we were facing getting maybe 3 more heroes, now we're gonna get 5 more heroes. So we really need those rads to plus 20 them. because then we can potentially, you know, plus 20 a lot of the heroes, all of the new heroes that we want to plus 20. And then if we don't, maybe we can plus 25 someone. Maybe we go back and we plus 20 some of the older heroes that we've been wanting to get to plus 20, but we just haven't been able to get to, right? So yeah, so then you can just take a look at your final rankings here. I'm not sure where the score is. This score is derived from, but we get a 108. They end up with a 102. They ended up with a 96. Somehow these three 1, 2, 3, 4 guilds ended up in a tie. I don't know how the tiebreakers work. They're usually not very good tiebreakers. So somehow this guild skirted into 4th. Whatever. The other guild, that, like I said, they really had no business being there because they kind of got there by alliance. They got carried there, dropped to 16th, right? Because they got like the worst case scenario for the deploy, because as you could see, we were able to box them out. So that's just the advantage you have from just being in the district, right? So obviously one of the big things we did to box them in is we spread out our Krakens, right? So I go here, our other Kraken goes here, right? So we've got Levy here. They're the other big one, right? So he's got like a bunch. He's got some P4, a lot of P3, a lot of other Paragon 2, Paragon 1 heroes, right? So he's like the second biggest, and then like we use our powerful, you know, squads to just kind of take anything. See, they didn't even bother with the skirmish here. They didn't want to give us extra points, I guess. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe the 10 points could have helped them rank a little bit higher, but it didn't matter in the end. We go to the combat trial. I didn't even check to see. Yeah, so my Graveborn team didn't even make it into the melee. Again, they didn't have that many squads. They only sent 27 here. We bulked up to 62. And I think here was, yeah, 27. So we did a good job. We probably could have used a couple extra squads here at the end of the day. Or maybe we could have had some more squads here. Or put some more squads here. Just depending. I didn't want to potentially give this up to let this guild grab it, because again, that would have been 500 points swing in their favor, while it wasn't enough, I think, to knock them into second. I just didn't want to give them free points. Besides, I gave everyone the day off, right? So we just don't redeploy that type of thing. So I hope you guys had some good matches, you know, just learn from this round, kind of just look, you know, see what went right, see what went wrong. For us, for the most part, this was, I would say, the perfect game. Everything went right for us. Our ally was able to hold up their side, which if you have an ally, you want them to be able to hold up their side of the board. That thing just makes things easy. If the stronger guild, as you can see, right? So it's better if the stronger guild, so the 1 goes against the 4, and the 2 goes against the 3, right? Because then the 1 is obviously going to get more tiles, so they'll have an easier time holding, right? So when we had the flip in the previous game, we had a little bit of a harder time holding all of the tiles that both of these, because this guild was a little bit stronger, right? So we actually lost this tile, but we have kept this tile and this tile. I don't even remember if we lost this tile or not. I just didn't care. It was only an 80 tile. It wasn't really worth anything. At the point we would have lost it anyway, right? So this is what I say is like ideal. So again, we were able to box out 4, which kind of, you know, gives is going to ensure that they're not going to get points. Oh, we get points, so we can lock down first. And then again, by them not getting points, that kind of just puts it like who's fighting for second, who's fighting for third. And again, a worst case scenario, had our ally, you know, lost um extra tiles that they weren't supposed to lose, ideally they would have been able to come in and go grab this tile as well, right? So they could have grabbed this, they could have gotten the 250, and then we could have gotten them there, or I wouldn't have given up the treasure hamster. There's no way. I like that little chubby hamster. He's 500 points, essentially, or an extra 400. One thing I will note is that for whatever reason, and I think it's just because it's based on, it may be based on guild strength, so it's not so random. For us, every match that we had the treasure hamster, we were either here or here, and the treasure hamster always spawned here, right? So we always had to make our way from this side of the board to this side of the board to grab that chubby little hamster. So but yeah, definitely worked out. As far as Vanguard squads go, I pretty much ran the same ones. And just talking with somebody, they said, hey, oh, why don't you run your Graveborn team? Your Graveborn team's like really strong. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard when you're winning with a team. It's hard to change it out because you're scared, because even though the other team you might run is better, if the team you're having success with, you know, you kind of want to run that. Now, I can talk about my teams. I still think this is probably right, because just the depth of the teams, you're gonna have to run a control team. So this one's really good. So I actually had changed up my teams. So what I'm gonna do, we can just edit it real quick, right? So I had actually swapped this back to the Alsa based team, right? So I ended up running this for my control team. Because if you're running Vanguard, you need a 5th team. You're probably running this team. Now, for this team, this isn't that strong of a team. I was testing it out against other people that have just stronger teams in general. However, if you are on a weaker district, this team will perform decently for you just because of Paragon advantage and the burstiness of the team. Alright, this team I actually scrapped, right? So this is the team where we went in and we dropped our Ludovic.
Accepted.
I've been yearning for this moment.
And let me get my serum. Right, so we ran this team because this team, again, I found is a very effective team. Kaylin and Ludovic do a good job of keeping most everybody alive, as you saw. Yes, maybe we lose Harak. Yes, maybe we lose Nara, but that's not going to be till later on. This team is fine. It's just a modified version of what's over on Yap. I'm running Alenia instead because I think out of all the Wilders that I would have had to run, it would have been either, it would have come down to 2 options for this team that I wasn't running. It would have been, well, I would say 3 options. Alright, so we had Parisa, we could have run Parisa, we could have run a Florabelle, or we could have run Lenya. I love Lenya. I don't really get to use her elsewhere. I just thought she would be an interesting add to this team. So we went ahead and we subbed her in there, right? You're supposed to, I think, run it with Lily, but I wanted to be able to spread a Lily out. Because we have this team here. Because I don't like the twins for PvP content, so I didn't like the twins team, so I kind of had to break it up, right? So Tassie's technically supposed to be on a team too, and we're supposed to run Damien and Tassie with this over Brian and Granny. But again, I didn't want to run the twins. My twins are weak because I don't have them built up for PvP, so I didn't want to be at like, I didn't want to give anybody like an advantage. I didn't want to put out a weakish team, and then like as you could see, my Hugin's only P1 because he's another hero that I just didn't really have a lot of faith in early on. I didn't really see him changing. Now I know a lot of people have been using him in PvP, and maybe that puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I'll get him up to Paragon 2 or 3 eventually. We got Sinbad up there eventually. we're pulling for Hugin Sinbad on our wish list, so we should get him there one of these days, right? So those are the teams that I'm running. Again, this is tailored more towards my district. For the next round, we'll have Athalia in the mix. You know, I have mixed feelings on her. I don't know how high I'm gonna pull her, if I'm gonna pull her. We won't, I don't know. I know we'll get Faramore too at some point. I think Faramore, what we'll do is if we get Faramore, if Faramore's decent, what we'll probably do is toss him into this squad and we'll drop our Brian, right? So maybe we'll push Faramore. If he's good for PvP, I'll probably push him to like Paragon 3, right? And then we'll just swap out Brian and then just run Paramore in here instead of Brian. It's just this isn't a very melee based team, and Faramore seems like a very melee based hero, right? So it's like we want like another ranged type. The other option would be to swap Tassie out of here and put her in the other squad too. And then maybe blow this squad up a little bit. But again, we'll have to kind of like wait and see. My other thing is I don't really see a spot in which I can put Athalia. Athalia could maybe slot into this team, right? Even though it is a control team, we could drop, I would say, Elsa, because I have been having success running her. Probably the best team that I run with Athalia was Tassie, Italian, Athalia, Lorson, and Lily May. So we'd have to blow up our teams a little bit. Maybe we could somehow get in another Graveborn team. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So we'll go ahead. We'll see this. I'll get the ID here. If anybody wants to copy it, they need team ideas. I'll also post it in the message for the YouTube video, so it should be down below. And that's it for this one, and enjoy your time off from Clashfronts. Again, it's always good to just do some post-analysis on your teams, what worked, what didn't work, what strategies worked, what didn't work, did alliance work for you, did they not work for you. If you made an alliance this round, in this game, and you're going to potentially have that guild in your next match, definitely foster that alliance, stay friendly with them, you know, try to work together in the upcoming rounds, because what I have seen and what you don't want is a 3v1 situation. I've seen quite a bit of that in the forums. That happened in my second accounts guild. We had a 3v1 type situation, essentially two times in a row. So be careful. If you're not as strong as you think you are, be careful about pissing off too many people, I would say, in your district, in your server, because they will gang up on you. They will go after you. And that's it for this one, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!